So we're sitting here in your beautiful home, Loucas.
Yes.
And we're in Bornholm, an island outside. Well, it's actually outside Sweden, isn't it?
Yeah.
And when I'm looking around here, I see a lot of books that we're surrounded with, candles on the table, and your Buddhist sculptures are very there are quite a lot of them actually.
Yeah.
There's the head. There's also the Virgin Mary.
Yeah.
What do they mean to you, these sculptures?
I actually don't know much about Buddhism, but for me, I feel it makes it nice to be here for me. Yeah. So in a sense, they make it peaceful, I think, for me.
Yeah. They do that for me too.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, it doesn't feel like religious. It just gives this peace.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And we're looking at a huge apple tree outside the window. And behind are the fields and the ocean.
Yeah.
Yeah. So this is where you live. And tell me a little bit about how you actually decided to come and live here.
Yeah. I decided to come and live on Bornholm because I wanted to make a retreat place for people with stress. And I wanted to make a place where they can come and relax and first of all, find out why did I create this stress? And so how can I be aware not to be stressed in the future? And but it never ended up like that.
No.
It ended up being like I'm renting out my place. I'm making the vegetarian food for people making a retreat here. Mostly yoga teachers coming and doing the yoga retreats, and somebody is also walking around in the beautiful nature here and doing yoga in the afternoon and the morning.
So you actually ended up giving that service to the world to help people also deal with their stress, but through other people, by actually creating the framework for other facilitators and other people's work.
Yeah.
Because you didn't always live here on this island, obviously.
No.
You lived... Where did you live?
In Copenhagen.
Okay. So...
Vesterbro.
Okay.
The
Which
center
is
of Copenhagen.
the center, busy, hipster.
Yeah.
And now you're here not considering going back, or what?
I really have put myself together every time I need to go to Copenhagen.
Yeah. So what does it give you to be here in this? Because it's also remote. I mean, you don't even have a neighbor, really.
No, there's 100 meters to the nearest neighbor.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, for me, it's so nice. I don't have, when I live here alone, and I actually do that most of the year. It's mostly in the summertime. There's the retreats, and sometime in the autumn and springtime. But most of the time I'm actually living here alone, and I love that. I love the peace. I love the where we sit and we can actually see out on fields, and there's no houses as long as you can see, and no cars in that way. And the other side to the seaside, there's cars, but I like to have all the space. I really love that.
And we're going to talk today. Well, we don't know exactly what's going to come out of our mouths.
No.
but I'm very curious to know more about your thoughts and experiences with connected sexuality as a male, and also actually part of this radical decision, which it somehow is, to move from the city and moving out to this island, the countryside.
Yeah.
It's kind of also, I when I was listening, I was thinking, wow, okay, I wonder how does that affect the sexuality? How does that affect general connectedness?
Yeah. Actually, I noticed the first year I was living here, I wasn't in Copenhagen for 1 year. Because people said, oh, you'll be lonely down there and over there. And actually it was opposite. I was feeling more lonely in Copenhagen, where there was thousands of people, than when I moved here. And I think it's because here in the nature you get more connected with yourself. So when you're connected with yourself, you're not lonely. But in Copenhagen, I was not connected with myself. And I also noticed when I came to Copenhagen, people are looking down, or they're looking in their mobile phone when they're walking on the street. And here, people are looking, is there anyone I know? Is there anyone I can talk with?
Wow.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
And it actually inspires me to go into talking about sexuality, because suddenly it becomes a very powerful metaphor, actually.
Yeah.
But before we go into that, can you tell us just what is it that you actually work with, and what is your, what are you specialized in?
Yeah. First I specialized in self-worth, because I needed myself. I've been working with that for a long, long time. And then I specialized in impotence. And because I had some clients that came to me that had the problem, and we didn't learn that much about that in my sexologist education.
Right, so you are a sexologist.
Yeah, and psychotherapist.
And psychotherapist, yes.
And have some love educations too. And trauma, shock trauma education.
Okay. So let's talk about sexuality and connectedness, because it suddenly, I was seeing this lonely Vesterbro city life going over to the connected, peaceful island place. People looking up, that's very powerful image, actually. So how could that be related to sexuality, or how? I mean, I suddenly got this, wow. Is there also a connectedness? Well, I don't know. I was just thinking, what do you think when I say, oh, is that a metaphor of sexuality also? Or can it be?
Yeah.
What is connected sexuality for you?
It is when whatever I do, it's connected with what I feel is good for me. It's not over my border. It's not. It's coming from having a contact, and when I lived in Copenhagen, I was not much in contact with myself, and it was easy to get one-night stands on the Grindr app, for example. By this way, I'm gay, and it's very easy. You can just see who is within 100 meters from where you live, and then ask them if you invite them to sex. But here on the island, there's very few gay people, and so you have to connect in another way. And also I think the tempo in the city is also like where it more, And I also noticed that when people are coming here in my retreat place, that it takes, for most people, at least 1 day or two before they are settled down. And somebody cannot sleep the first night because it's so quiet here. They say, "Oh, it's so quiet, I couldn't sleep." There was no sound here. There was no noise from my neighbor.
But there was me.
Yeah. So somebody put music on to fall asleep. Yeah. And I think this, the more you're connected with yourself, the more you have this with you when you have sex. It's and also my travel into this what do you call it? I've been having a lot of therapy sessions and to get to know myself better. And
because you have experience with going from, I asked you earlier if you had, disconnected sex, and you were like, no. I mean, you were very sort of clear. It felt like a big very strong clarity in you. You don't have disconnected sex anymore.
No.
But it wasn't always like that.
No.
You have had disconnected.
Absolutely. In Copenhagen, I had a lot of that.
Okay. So how can you describe your journey from disconnected to connected? What is disconnected sex for a man? For you?
I think it's where it comes more from the head. You have an idea of how it should be, and you don't follow really. Often with gay sex, we talking or writing about what we want, and like you order a pizza, with bacon and cheese and then we have agreement before we meet, and often it's they come inside the door and very quick we have sex. And and sometimes the energy is not, to do that between us. And if you don't follow the energy, but follow the order, what you have ordered, or then I will say it's disconnected. So if you're not able to listen to what do I actually feel when I'm with this person, what is the energy with this person, for example, who will be the top and who will be the bottom, that can change in a meeting because the energy is different. Maybe sometimes it is what you have ordered, but it can also be that you feel like, no, I cannot do this. The energy is opposite. And if you don't follow the energy, I think it will be disconnected to what your soul will love you to do.
You were also mentioning something that really sort of interests me, is how you can then connect to what do you like to call your male sexual organ? Dick.
Yeah.
Okay. So we were talking earlier about how can you then communicate to your dick?
Yeah.
And I was, when I'm listening to him, like, okay, so how was that communication between you and your dick at that time?
We didn't have a chat.
No, no chat.
I think, all the sex I had in common, it was because I was feeling empty and lonely. and it was a way to feel I was wanted. The more, the better. That, you know, like it was addiction for me. It's a way to, I feel I was empty, and a way to fill it up, this emptiness.
So the communication between you and your dick wasn't there?
No, it was misused.
Yeah, what would you... So what would your dick say to that?
Oh, not today, please.
Okay.
I'm sore.
I'm sorry. Stop. And this is something, that I work with mostly females and their communication with their yonis.
Yeah.
And what opens up there is so... It's like a whole new world, right?
Yeah.
And I remember when I started actually asking my yoni, hey, what do you want?
Yeah.
And she would be like, could we please make a deal that you listen to me? Oh, that's an option.
Yeah, exactly.
I can actually listen to her and say, oh, okay, my mind wants something, but my yoni maybe just isn't there, you know, and she doesn't have to justify anything.
Yeah.
She just has the right to say, no, thank you.
Yeah.
Or yes. And sometimes she wants something and my mind doesn't want.
Yeah.
So of course there's that finding the alignment, right? Which is where I feel the most free, is when the alignment is there. But so the disconnected... Okay, but so you went from... Because I know you're not... Something has changed, right?
Yeah,
Today, you feel a lot of connected sex.
Yeah. I
How's
was
that
actually
different?
thinking about that. I think what changed that was when I started doing... I was on a Tantra course, and this where you're connecting with the eyes and the breathing and holding the hand on the other person's heart, and so this connectedness, and also that the goal was not to come; it was actually more to building up energy and riding on the energy. So my perspective of sex, before it was coming as soon as possible, and now it was like, wow, this energy is amazing to ride on, and also that finding out, wow, this can take hours instead of 3 minutes, and to dare to be in the room of all the emotions that sometimes also came. But sometimes when I have clients, male clients, they're talking about they need to perform when they have sex, and I say, oh, don't. It's a play. It's a room, but you only need to think about having contact and be with whatever comes up in the contact with the partner you have. That as long as you just are honest about what's coming up, it's amazing room you create together, and if you can let go of the thought that you need to come, that this is not the purpose of being together. Maybe it happens, but it's not it's not any more the purpose for when you have sex that way. And
so what is the purpose then?
It's more being together, whatever there is between us. It can, anger can come up, and sadness, and then you cry, and being held, and the intimacy that comes from that. sometimes make us horny, and then we have sex. But it's if you can let go of this. Actually, I think it's a kind of lifestyle you create where this. If you have this contact in every moment when you are together, to be as honest as you can, and being vulnerable, and share what is inside, and sometimes there can be a period of time where you don't feel you can do it, not because what the others say, but you just hold back, and then suddenly you have built up a lot of emotions, and they suddenly like that comes out, and if you feel the other person is just receiving you, like, and it's kind of feeling received, as when you have sex, that you feel this, what do you call it, bounded or connected?
Yeah, bonded,
Yeah,
connected, yeah.
And feeling, I'm so happy I have this person in my life that I can have this with, and that this person doesn't go away because I get angry, or I get really, really, really sad and cry a lot, or that you feel whole and that, and not judged or rejected, or.
So that is, are you saying that is like a foundation for the connected sex also?
Yeah, I think because if you feel you have to hold back your feelings, you're not connected with yourself. Then you disconnect yourself all the time, and then we start all kind of addictions to hold it back, and yeah, I think so.
And that's really interesting, because then that really makes also the work with being honest, and a lot of, there's this saying that we don't always have to tell the truth, because it doesn't always serve a good purpose, but there is also a connectedness with what you're saying, between being honest with yourself and the other, and a connected sexuality.
Yeah.
So,
yeah, I was just thinking that I don't think you can be more close than you can be honest. So if you want real closeness, you have to be honest, and also, if you're so lucky that the other person can embrace what you have, and that doesn't come what do you call it, a cliff, no, that it doesn't separate you, that the other person can hold their heart open, even you tell something that hurts the other person, and after you told something that maybe hurt the other person, that the other person can also share what's happened over in their shoes, and you can have this communication and force them back without judging or rejecting, or does it make sense?
it does. And I'm also thinking that, I think there are people who experience, say, well, I'm not totally honest with my partner, but I can still have sex, and I still have, nice sex. So when I'm listening to you, I'm thinking, yeah, and will that then feel disconnected, though?
Yeah.
What are your thoughts about that?
I think if you've been living a life like that, and you haven't experienced the other dimension, you don't know what you are losing.
Yeah.
And yeah, I wouldn't lose that.
No. And I definitely agree. I know what it's like to actually have very connected sex, because I connect to something in myself in that space. And that's also something I'm really hearing you say, that the connectedness to yourself, that is where it all begins.
Yeah.
And that's really important, I think, that we have this idea that it's about the other. And often people, when they talk about, is he good in bed? Is she good in bed?
Yeah.
It's this really weird thing to talk about, right? Because what is that?
Yeah.
What is it to be good in bed?
Yeah. Are you asking?
Yeah, now I am.
For me today, it is about your ability to connect and to follow. For me, it's like a dance that where you can also switch who's the one who's leading, and my experience now is like it can switch within 5 minutes, who is leading, and before it was very rigid, there's one who's leading and one who is passive, and just have to follow. Yeah, so I think it's your ability to kind of swim like a fish in the water.
Okay. So, if people want to move from a sensation of disconnectedness, disconnected sex, to a more connected, and for me that is what I would call it, soulful sex. I mean, it is when we connect with our bodies and ourselves, that's actually us plugging into our soul. So if you were going, what would your suggestion be? What is the way to go about that? To go from this disconnectedness to the
So one exercise I once made on a course, a male course. We were a group of men together, and we were told, imagine that you can speak from your dick, and the dick tell the way you're working together, and how the head has been used, and for what purpose that's been used, and what the dick think about this. For example, when I was having a lot of sex in Copenhagen, I was disconnected with myself, and my dick really didn't like that. It was feeling raped, I would say, because it was not what the dick wanted. It was what I was, trying to fill up a hole instead, and you can never do that. You have to have the next fix, because it never happened. I forgot the question, sorry.
Yeah, we were talking about how to go from, if you actually wanted to go from disconnected sex and connect and have more soulful connected sex. What would that be? So, and one of the things is to actually speak to your dick.
Yeah, you can as we were sitting in a group, but you can also just write, imagine that, sit and imagine that you are your dick, and think about what have you offered your dick during the years, and think, oh, if I am this dick, how would it feel for me to be this dick? Do my owner listen to me and what I really want, or is it another dagsorden? What's that?
Agenda.
Agenda, yeah. So the more that you know what the dick wants, and I also, when I work with men with erection problems, I ask them, when some young people come and say, I cannot have erection, and say, when is it? Yeah, there's some women I cannot, and so it's not with everyone. No, there's some women but are you listening to your dick, what your dick want? No, but I have to have erection with every woman. Say, no, there's something called dick wisdom, that the dick knows what's good for you. Have you heard about that? And it's like, they have wide open eyes and say, no, what are you talking about? and when they have this, when they start listening to the dick, what the dick really want, they don't have the problem anymore. It's just because they have seen a lot of porn, and they have the idea that the dick should be hard if they just see a woman. And say it's not working that way.
I noticed actually before when you said, what does the dick want? And you closed your eyes actually. Yeah. And I also felt like closing my eyes. And you closed your eyes and really go into it there and see what is it actually. Take it seriously. I mean, and go into that space and say, and give your dick a voice.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. And
listen to it.
And listen to it.
Yeah, respect it.
Yeah. But that starts with giving it a voice, of course. Yeah.
And attention.
Yeah. And we actually we work with that actually as an exercise to listen to the yoni. So we are going to now immediately put in an exercise to give the dick, which we in Soul Driven we call it, we use the Sanskrit name lingam. So give the dick a voice. Oh, you said dick wisdom.
Yeah.
What is that?
I have the feeling that in when we listen to it, you can also see the soul, that we kind of know, is this a healthy thing to be with, or is this destroying? It could be, if you build up a relationship, would it be a destroying relationship, or will it be with harmony? And I think the gender knows how this will work out, and sometimes the ego decides something different. Because it's a beautiful woman and a beautiful man, and he wants to be shown in the city with this person, instead of you listen to a lot of women who feel ashamed about the body, so it's really not connected with what men really want. It's so disconnected, and what men really love is with the woman who love the body the way it is. It's not that it should be in another way, or slim, but that they love the body they have, and take pride in it, because when a woman or a man doesn't love the body, they that kind of reject you because they feel shamed, and they don't want different positions because then he can see my stomach, or does it make sense?
Yeah, and it did. And there I'm again thinking then it becomes disconnected because
exactly.
the mind is worrying about, am I looking good? Am I not looking good?
Yeah. And when you are in this worry mind, you're disconnected with the other person.
So you are disconnected when you're all the time thinking of what you look like, or if the other person likes your body. Or you were also mentioning that you had sort of, when you grew up, you had this idea that you had to make everyone happy, or that you were like the good boy or pleaser.
Yeah.
And then you actually met someone who was very pronounced about what he wanted.
Yeah.
What was that experience?
I was in a group of men, and a men's group, and he was very direct about actually what he wanted, what he liked, and to do in the group, and I was like, what the fuck? You're not going to decide all the time what we are going to do. And after a while, I was, so angry with him. And I had to tell him that I was so angry with him. And he was so surprised because he said, no, I'm just telling what I want. You can tell what you want. But, I was not used to tell what I want and, what would be nice for me. Because... I was always the pleaser who was, doing what other people want to make them happy, so they might like me. And after that, it was a waking up thing for me that I could also have a voice about what I want, and that we could have a dialogue about what should we do then when you want this, I want this. Yeah.
And there again, I'm thinking that becomes also a metaphor for the communication, of course, with your dick.
Yeah. Exactly.
Your dick can actually also have a say when we talk about sexuality.
Yes.
Okay. So you have, I'll give you a Aladdin lamp, and you can wish anything for the world. What would you wish for the world regarding this connection, disconnection, soulful, not soulful topic?
If I could wish something for the world, I wish that everybody know that they are loved, and that if we come from there, I am loved, the world can't, because we cannot have this world we have now, where we are disconnected with the earth, and the war we have now, and it's just not gonna happen because it's so far from where we are. It can only live because we are so disconnected with ourselves, and also that we could have more connection with ourselves.
That's beautiful. It's moving. I'm crying over here. So I think that's probably a really good place to end our conversation today. And can you say it again? What was it? You're loved as you are. You're okay as you are.
That you are loved the way you are.
You're loved the way you are.
You don't have to change. A lot of people, when they come in especially men when they come They have take them a long time to come to therapy. Often their woman is threatening by leaving them before they're coming. And they get so surprised that they don't have to change. I say, what I want from you is that you're getting more yourself instead of being another person than you are. Because most men, they think that they should be another person than they are. That's why they have this rejection of therapy, because they often hear the woman to them say, oh, you're not good at this and that, now you're doing this again, or you're always like that. And so when they take them to therapy, they think they need to what do you call it, just do what the woman wants. And I say it's not about what she wants, it's about listen to what you want and have a dialogue about that. And it's definitely not about listening just for her. But most men, they're ending up giving up themselves with a woman because they want peace. Most men just they go for the peace instead of for being satisfied in their relationship. And often when they do that, they're ending up seeing porn instead, or being unfaithful, or because it's much easier because they haven't learned to stand up for themselves.
Okay.
Yeah.
So to sort of close down this space between us, what could be a good way of closing it down?
I was just thinking that this when you're standing up for yourself, because when I work with this men with erection problems, I could see that they were not standing up for themselves. And I said to them, when you're not standing up for yourself, your dick is going down. And when you're standing up for yourself, your dick will go up again. Because it has to do about aggression. And aggression is not necessarily unpeaceful. It's also, it's a force when you're standing up for yourself. But it doesn't mean that you have to being violent. And it's a game changer for most men when they understand this about standing up for themselves, because they are very much the Mr. Nice Guy, and when they learn, I ask them to get connected with what do you really want in every respect of your life, from a cup of coffee to what you eat and exercise, what you do in spare time, your kind of work, and instead of thinking of what do other people want me to do, because you're losing your. I say every time you do something for other people's desire, and it's not connected with you, you give away your desire.
So the mantra of the day: stand up for yourself.
Yeah.
Be true to yourself.
Yeah.
And that is part of living a spiritual life, is being connected to who you really are.
Yeah, to live your truth.
Thank you very much, Loucas.
Yeah, it's a pleasure. Thank you.